welcome everyone to yoga. I'm Annalisa. Welcome to my little living room studio. And find yourself a comfortable seat. You may like to have a folded blanket or a cushion to sit on just to create a little bit of height or just to have around for some cushioning at any time. And so let's find a comfortable seat. You can also be lying down on the ground. You can start like that. And let's let our eyes close or take a comfortable, gentle gaze downward and just start to tune in to our selves, to our surroundings. Just start to ground ourselves and start to feel centered. And just breathing any way you like. Noticing your contact with the ground. Noticing what parts contact the mat or the floor. And then see if you can start to lengthen the inhales and exhales. And then begin to check in with your body, maybe giving it a scan from head to toe. And let the shoulders soften and feel the facial muscles relax. Let the forehead and brow grow smooth. Let the eyes, the area around the eyes grow smooth. And around the cheeks, the nose, the eyes. And open your mouth a little bit, open the jaw, and move it around a little bit, up and down and side to side gently. And then let it come back to center. And let the lips come together and keep the teeth slightly apart so you have a nice relaxed jaw, creating some space. And then seek out through the rest of the body as you scan and notice that there are any tight places, or perhaps if your hands are clenched, let those fists open up and just allow anything that's not holding you upright, if you're still seated, let everything just relax a little bit more. No need for any tightness or tension. And then take your awareness, your senses, to feel where perhaps your hands are touching your legs, if they are. Perhaps feeling the warmth, feeling the clothes touching your skin. And notice any feeling of the air on your skin. Maybe noticing any external sounds, perhaps in the distance. For instance, I can hear a dog barking a few yards away and some birds chirping. And then maybe see if you can hear sounds closer towards you, maybe right in the room with you. And maybe even noticing any internal sounds, like your breathing, maybe a little stomach gurgle. And then take your awareness to inside your mind and just notice any thoughts, feelings, or emotions that might be there, and just acknowledge them. Let them be like clouds floating through the sky, or maybe imagine them on top of a river and just visualize them gently floating downstream. And then can you allow this moment to be just as it is? And now this moment, coming to visit the present moment, which is any moment that you realize it. And in this moment, can you allow yourself to be just as you are without having to try to change anything? No judgment, just be. And every moment you have a chance to begin again, to recenter, checking in with the breath, the muscles, the senses, the mind, and coming into that present moment. So as a group, let's take 3 deep breaths together. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And once more, in and out. So now, if your eyes were closed, you can allow them to gently open and start taking in the room. And if you're seated and you've got something underneath you, move it out of the way. And if you're lying on the ground, hold tight there, because the seated people are going to gently roll themselves down onto their backs on the floor to join you. And once everybody's on their back, bring your arms up over your head and reach your fingertips to the wall behind you and press your soles of the feet to the wall in front of you. And just wriggle a little bit and find some length. Maybe you find enough length without wriggles, but if you feel like moving around a little bit, just sort of start to bring the whole body into this lengthening movement. Feel free. So take a breath here. And then on your next exhale, bring your arms down by your sides and bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet onto the floor, and then raise your feet up towards the ceiling, straightening your legs, and begin to point and flex your feet and toes, starting to warm up the ankles, warming up the calves. And then take your toes in a circle on the ceiling. So your ankles go through a full range of motion, first going one way, and then going the other way. And then shake that out a little bit and begin to gently bend and straighten your legs at the knees. Starting to warm up the knees, warming up the thighs. And you'll start to feel that your core is warming up a little bit as well as it's keeping the legs up in the air. And now change this movement into a little bicycle movement. So pedal your legs first in one direction, and then pause, and then change directions. remembering as we move through this entire class to just be mindful of how you're feeling today. And now go ahead and bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet down to the floor. Just take a pause here and listen to your body. You don't ever have to do anything that I tell you to do if it feels like it's not going to be the right thing. You listen to your own intuition. So now let your right foot come up off the floor and make some circles with your right knee in the air. And feel the movement coming from the hip. Starting to feel that hip move through a full range of motion. And breathing and change directions. Next time that ankle comes around, let it cross over your left thigh just above your knee and raise your left foot in the air. And if you like, you can find a place for your hands behind that left thigh and maybe even gently draw your knee a little bit closer towards your torso. Breathe. You can allow your head to gently roll from side to side. Just releasing some tension there. And then let go of the hands and gently allow the feet to come back down to the floor. Just notice for a moment the feeling between the legs, a different feeling in the legs. And then pick up your left foot and allow your left knee to make some circles in the air. First going one way and then going the other. And the next time that ankle comes around, let it cross over the right thigh just above the knee. Raise your right foot up off the floor and perhaps find a place for your hands behind your leg. And inhale and exhale. And if you like, you can maybe draw your right knee a little closer towards your chest. Inhale and exhale, let go of the hands, let go of the feet, or put the feet back down to the floor. Allow your feet to come out a bit wider than hip width. And then inhale and exhale, allow your left knee and leg to drop in towards the midline, down towards the mat. So you might feel a little bit of a stretch in the front or around in the hip area. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, allow the other leg to come down. Inhale to center. And now take a few repetitions like this, moving at your own pace. You can sync with the breath if you like, or you can just breathe however as you move. Just start to bring some more, perhaps slightly different movement into your hips. And then let that movement come to a close. Bring the feet back in towards hip width and raise your arms and fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then bend your elbows and hold on to the opposite elbows with your hands. And inhale and exhale, allow your knees to go towards the left and allow your arms to go over towards the right. So it's almost as if your right arm is gently pulling your left arm across. And then inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, legs go right, arms go left. Inhale to center. And now go ahead and move at your own pace, doing a few repetitions of this movement from side to side. I feel like the outside animal sounds are quite lively today. I don't know how much you can hear them. And then next time you return to center, you can release the arms, lift your feet off the floor, bringing your knees pointing up towards the ceiling, and then allow your knees to come in towards your torso a little bit more, and raise your upper body up, bring your forehead in towards your knees, You can hold on to the shins with your hands, or maybe wrap your arms around the legs and rock a little bit from side to side, curled up into a tight ball. If it feels more comfortable, you can bring your knees a little bit wider apart. Find what feels right for you. And if it feels better to not curl up all the way and just do a little roll with your upper body on the floor, that's cool too. Now, if it feels okay on your spine, perhaps see about a little forward and back rock. And then rock or roll or press yourself up to a seated position and get into a comfortable position. Perhaps if you've got your legs crossed, maybe cross them the other way. Give them a little difference of movement. And raise your right arm up in the air and lean over to the left. And then come back to center, inhale and exhale, lean over to the right. Come back to center, lean over to the left. Come to center and lean over to the right. Come back to center. You can let your arms come down and let your left hand come to your right knee. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, twist a little. And take a few breaths here. Unwind that and allow your arms come over to the other side. So now your right hand comes to your left knee and twist to the other side. And breathe. And then unwind. Inhale, open your arms out wide, and then allow your right arm to come across, and you can hold with your left. See if you can let your shoulder be soft and down away from your ear. And if it feels good, perhaps try to just turn your head gently from side to side, letting go of tension. And then inhale, open the arms out wide. And then exhale, bring your left arm across and hold with your right. It doesn't really matter how you hold. And let that shoulder soften down away from the ear. And again, turn your head gently from side to side. Inhale, open the arms out wide. And then exhale, bend your elbows, bring your upper arms and elbows closer by your side, and make some circles with your wrists, with your hands at your wrists, taking those wrists through a full range of motion. And go the other way. And now make some fists with your hands, and again, make some circles here. And then go the other way. And I give a little shake out here. And take a hold of your right wrist. So you've got the little knobbly bits right at the end of your forearm bones. And so there'll be a little hollow just in between that knobbly bit and the hand. And so give a little pull, just a gentle pull, maybe create a little space in the wrist. And then come over to the other side, find that kind of wrist bone, come just in front of it, and then just give a little gentle pull, maybe a little shake, create a little space there. And then let that go, shake your wrists, shake your hands, shake your arms, make any kind of little arm movement that you might like. Do a little shoulder roll, moving in whatever direction you might like. You can go together, you can alternate, you can do both. And then go the other direction. And let that movement come to a close, and let your right ear come towards your right shoulder. And breathe. And then let your head return to center and let the left ear come down towards the left shoulder. Come back to center. And now take your chin down towards your collarbone, towards your chest. Start to feel some length starting to happen in the back of the neck. And if you like, maybe making a little side to side motion so you start to feel it a little bit in several places in the back and maybe the side of the neck. And take one more breath. And then gently return to center and let your gaze return forward. And let's move to our hands and knees. And if you like, you can bring that blanket cushion over and set it up on your mat so that your knees can have a little cushioning. And come to a table position to all fours with your hands and wrists beneath your shoulders and your knees beneath your hips. And inhale, let the belly drop down and the chin and tailbone slightly lift towards the ceiling. And then exhale, round the spine towards the ceiling as your chin and chin and tailbone tuck under. Inhale, belly drops down, chin lifts. Exhale, spine rounds down and your chin tucks. Once more. Inhale, belly drops down. Exhale, spine rounds towards the ceiling. And then come back to a flat spine, back to the neutral table position. And check in with your left hand and arm and start to pour some weight over towards that side. And then raise your right arm and hand towards the air. If this is a little much on your shoulder, you can always bring the hand to the top of the shoulder. So lifting up, looking maybe towards the ceiling, and then curve down. Take your right hand and thread it underneath your left arm and allow the side of your head, the side of your shoulder to come down. And take a few breaths here. Feeling this twist, this arm and shoulder stretch. And then inhale and raise the right arm or perhaps the elbow up towards the ceiling, taking your gaze that way. And then letting your hand come down, repositioning into the table. And then look over to your right hand and allow your weight to pour into that hand and arm. And inhale and lift your left arm and fingers up towards the ceiling, or maybe the elbow. And then exhale, curve your arm down and thread that left hand and arm under and through behind your right arm, and allow the side of your head to come down to the mat, the side of your shoulder maybe, as long as that feels okay. If it does not feel okay to come that far, then stay a little bit higher. Take a breath wherever you're at. And then inhale, unwind and raise either the elbow or the fingertips towards the ceiling, taking the gaze up, and then let your hand come down and reset. All right. And now from here, we're going to do a little diagonal stretch. So allow your right hand and fingers to extend, and then let your left leg extend behind you. Now you can keep the toes and fingers on the floor, or you can lift up the fingers and hands a little bit. Feel perhaps the core tightening to support. Breathe, and then reset. And we'll go over to the other side. So extend that left hand, fingers, arm out, and the right leg and toes behind you. Either keeping the toes on the floor now, or maybe lifting hands and feet off the floor. Breathe, and then reset. Now, extend your right arm and left leg. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bend your elbow, bend your knee, and start to see if you can bring them together or bring them approaching each other underneath you. And then inhale, extend, and then replace the hand and the knee. Left hand and arm, right leg extends. Inhale, exhale, bring the elbow and the knee closer towards each other underneath you. Inhale, extend, and then place back down. So now inhale, let the belly drop down, the chin lifts. Exhale, let the spine round towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly drops down, chin lifts. Exhale, spine rounds, chin comes down. Inhale, belly down, chin lifts. Exhale, round the spine. Return to table position, all fours. And inhale, lift your right arm or elbow up towards the ceiling. Exhale, thread the arm beneath the left arm. Now, inhale, unwind, raise that hand or elbow towards the ceiling again, and exhale, place the hand down. Inhale, lift your left hand or elbow towards the ceiling. Exhale as you briefly thread the arm underneath the right arm, not coming down all the way. Inhale, unwind, and then exhale, place the hand down. Inhale, extend right arm and left leg. Exhale, elbow and knee come together. Inhale, extend. Exhale, place the hands down, hand and knee down. Inhale, left arm, right leg, extend. Exhale, elbow and knee come together. Inhale, extend. Exhale, place back down. Now, go ahead and sit back on your seat here and give a little shake out for your wrists, your arms, shoulders. Perhaps doing that gentle little tug again, if that felt good. We were on our wrists for a little bit. All right, inhale and exhale. And let's come back to hands and knees briefly and curl your toes under, press your hands into the floor, lift your wrists up and see how the knuckles of the palm press now into the floor. So see if you can keep that happening and even press the fingertips into the floor and then press your toes into the floor as you lift your hips towards the ceiling. Your knees can be bent here. And if you like, you can alternate bending and straightening the legs here, walking your downward dog a little bit. Maybe even bringing the upper body into it, making this a little bit more of an active dog. And then either walking your feet towards your hands or walking your hands towards your feet. Come to a ragdoll position. So make sure that your feet are about hip width apart and you can keep a nice bend in your knees and take a hold of the opposite elbows again. And then just feel the traction as your upper body just hangs. And you can always let it support on, or let it be supported by the thighs. let your head shake a little bit. Maybe nod at yes, shake at no. Feeling some freedom there. And then bring your hands down towards the floor and press your feet into the mat, pressing them down. And then keeping a little bend in the knees, start to press your hips towards the ceiling. You might start to feel a little bit of a shake as some muscles start to come online, wake up a little bit. Let your head be soft on the neck. And breathe. Now bend your knees and slowly begin to come up. You can walk your hands up your legs, letting your head come up last. And when you've come all the way up, just give a little shake of the legs, of the arms, of the whole body. You can get your shoulders and hips into it a little bit. And then bring your feet a little bit wider than hip width, shoulder width, or bring your feet a little bit wider. And then start to twist your body a little bit and let those arms just kind of hang beside you. Let them be like empty coat sleeves, just giving a little gentle kind of slap or thunk as they contact your body, waking up that midsection a little. Almost feeling like all the weight in the arms is down towards the fingers, so that the shoulder, or excuse me, the arms just kind of float around beside you. And start to let that movement come to a close. Bring your feet in a little bit more to hip width, pelvis width. And just let your eyes close for a moment. Just observing how your body feels in this moment, in this position. And keeping your eyes closed still, can you focus on the front of your elbow, so like the elbow pits, and allow your elbow pits to turn to face forward. You may have felt your chest open up a little bit. And then take your awareness down to your feet. And if you start to feel a little balance issues here, feel free to open your eyes. In fact, actually, let's just open our eyes. So feel your elbow pits facing forward, and then take your awareness down to your feet and see if you can move your body weight a little bit back and forth. So maybe you move it back towards your heels without falling backwards, and then start to move a little bit so you feel a little bit more in the ball of your feet and the toes. And so just gently sway back and forth like this a couple of times. Keep a little gentle bend in the knees. Don't lock your legs. And then start to come to someplace in between there. Maybe even a little bit closer towards the heels. You want to keep your toes on the floor though. And it almost feels like everything is stacked on top of each other. It feels like a really nice and stable posture. You can close your eyes again, see what it feels like. And then you can relax that, open your eyes, and let's step to first. If you had anything on your mat, go ahead and move it out of the way. And step towards the front of your mat and bring your feet to, again, about hip width, pelvis width apart. And you can look down towards your feet and start to sink your weight back towards your heels. So you're going to start to notice that your knees and ankles will be sort of stacked. Now this is going to take your bum back behind you, and that's okay. So as we do this, you're going to keep sticking your bum behind. So we're going to start to bend the knees a little bit more, keeping the weight towards the heels. You can bring your arms out in front of you for a little balance, and see if you can try to keep the knees and ankles over each other. Perhaps you need to hinge the hips a little bit. So just creating a little bit of a semi-chair squat. And take a few breaths here. If it doesn't feel great to have your arms out in front of you, you can bring them down to your thighs, maybe to your hips, out to the side. Find what works best for you. See if you can keep a little length in the neck. So maybe you're gazing out, I don't know, maybe like 1.5 yards in front of you. And then take your arms and reach one arm up and imagine you're pulling something down, maybe like a rope or something, or a chain. So alternate the arms and see if you can be in this squat, be stationary in the lower body, but create a little bit of activity in the upper body. If you're starting to feel anything in your low back, check in and see if you can tuck your tailbone under just a teeny bit, and that might help. Also, if you need to stand up, feel free. Now bring the arms out in front of you again, and bringing your weight towards your left leg, into your left leg, in fact. Lift your right foot, start to lift it up, and then slowly bring it behind you, coming in to a bit of a lunge. So allow both knees to be facing forward, and the heel is lifted up. And then if it feels good, lift those arms towards the ceiling, maybe letting the shoulders be down away from your ears. Coming into a little bit of a crescent lunge, sort of a warrior one. Inhale, and then exhale, pivot your right foot and allow yourself to come to the warrior two stance. So your left foot has likely not changed, but your right foot is probably going to be facing towards the back of your mat. And extend the arms out, flip the palms towards the ceiling, and again, allow those elbow pits to lift or to face up towards the ceiling. Allow the fingertips to reach out towards the sides. Inhale and exhale. Let your hand, the back hand, drop down to the back leg. Inhale, lift the top arm up, or the front arm, excuse me. Inhale and exhale, and then bring that forward arm, the forearm, down to the top of the thigh. And do a little press of that forearm into the thigh so that you can lift up and out of your shoulder, almost like there's a little puff of air in your shoulder joint. So you're not just dumping down there. So try to create a nice long thing here. And maybe lift the fingers towards the ceiling of the other arm. And maybe you like to bring it by your ear. And I invite you also to make a little bit more of an active movement and make a big circle with your arm at the shoulder. Going both ways. Does this change how this pose feels for you? Does it make it a little bit more difficult to balance? Take one more breath here. And then, as if you were grabbing for a hook in the sky, allow yourself to come back. Let that front leg straighten and bring your toes towards the side of the mat. So angle both toes towards the side of the mat and then angle them out just slightly. And then inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, sink down, bending the elbows, bending the knees. Inhale, lift, and exhale, squat. It doesn't matter how far you come down. Inhale, lift, exhale, squat. And on your next inhale, step the hands and feet together, reach opposite directions, and then exhale, arms come down by your sides. And give a little shake out. And then pause again for a moment, perhaps closing your eyes or taking the gaze downward. And just observe, maybe checking in with the breath, relaxing any muscles that could feel tight, that you are holding tight. What do you feel around you? What's going on in your mind? And can you just let it all be? All right, open your eyes and we'll do the other side. So I am going to actually change the sides of the mat. You can do the same thing. It depends on how well you can see. So find your comfortable hip width, pelvis width stance. And again, look down and start to bring the weight towards the heels, starting to tip the bum back behind you a little bit. Seeing if you can keep the toes on the floor though, just a light touch. And then you can bring the arms out in front of you maybe and start to bend the knees a little bit more, seeing if you can sink back into a bit of a squat. This is going to be still more of an upright kind of a position. For most of us, I imagine. Notice what you're feeling. Check in with your neck and shoulders. Change your arms if you like. Checking in with the tailbone, maybe giving it just a teeny little tuck. Reaching up and imagining that you're pulling something down, or if there's another movement that you'd rather do, feel free for that. You know, you can just do some and pretend like you're swimming. Actually, this is kind of a fun thing. Since we did the pulling down of the rope or chain on the other side, imagine that you're just doing a little freestyle swimming. First going one way and then take the movement the other way. So I guess now we're doing a backstroke, but I don't think this would work in a pool facing this direction, but that's okay. And then bring that movement to a close. Bring those arms out in front of you again. Bring your weight into now the other leg. So for me, it's my right this time. And then lift the other leg, step that behind you, creating still some space in between the legs. Bringing the toes down, the ball of the foot contacts the floor, a little bit of a bend in the back knee, and maybe raising the arms towards the ceiling. I think right now I'd like to bend my elbows. You can choose what you'd like to do. And now I'll reach my fingers towards the ceiling and pivot, facing the side of the mat, pivoting my back foot, coming into this warrior two lunge. Flip the palms, flip the elbow pits up to face the ceiling. And reaching the fingertips out away. Maybe even seeing if you can take the thumbs just a little behind you. Just a little bit. Don't do a big upper back bend, just creating a little space in the chest. And then inhale and exhale. Bring your hand to the back leg and raise the forward arm and hand up. Inhale and exhale. Bring your front forearm down to the top of the thigh. Again, pressing the forearm or elbow into the thigh just a little bit so you can create a little bit of height so you're up and out of the shoulder joint. This is a great place to hang out. You can keep your arm by your side. Maybe you'd like to bring it up so the fingertips point towards the ceiling. Another idea is bringing the arm by the ear. Or maybe creating a little bit of an arm circle. Try both directions if you're circling. Does this feel easier or a little more challenging than the first side? And then imagining that there's a hook on the ceiling, you're going to pull yourself up, straightening the front leg, gently pivot the toes to face the side of the mat. And again, take the toes slightly outward. Inhale, raise the arms, and exhale, sink into a squat, bending the elbows, bending the knees. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, squat down. And on our next inhale, step the opposite direction that you did before, bringing the feet together, the hands together. If the fingers are up towards the ceiling, reach, press the feet into the floor, and then exhale, bring the arms down. Give a little shake of the legs, of the arms, of the hips. And then bring the feet back hip width with the eyes closed. And just take a pause to notice. And then open your eyes. You can turn to face either end of your mat. And if you like, you can bring your arms over your head or you can bring them to shoulder height and then start to bend your knees and hinge at your hips, bringing yourself down into a forward bend, keeping the knees deeply bent at first. And so you might be able to actually bring your hands to the floor, or you could bring your hands to your shins. Let your head be heavy on the neck, let the neck be soft. So do a little nod or a shake. And then with your knees bent, sink down just a little bit more, and then inhale, press the hips towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend. Inhale, hips towards the ceiling a little more. Exhale, bend. So just do a couple more of these bending and straightening of the knees. And then you can feel free to keep your knees as bent as you like, supporting the torso on the thighs. But start to press your feet into the floor. Pressing them in, really pressing the floor away. And then feel the hips rise towards the ceiling, maybe just a centimeter more. And let the head be soft, the neck be soft. Breathe. Now, walk your hands or fingertips a little bit more in front of you and begin in any way you like. This does not have to be elegant or in any particular way. Start to come down into some kind of a squat. Your heels can be up off the floor, your heels could be on the floor. You can widen your stance and just start to move around a little in this squat. Just finding some different little movements. breathing. Maybe your hips are still quite up in the air, and that's okay. And then wherever you're at, bring your hands out a little bit more in front of you, bring your knees down, coming into more of a table position, and then actually come into the table position. Wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. And then press the floor away from you and allow your arms to rotate a bit so that the elbow pits face forward. Feeling a nice, strong, lifted upper body. And then take one leg behind you, bring the toes back behind you, extending the leg, and then see if you can lift the other leg behind, coming into a plank. Feel free to bring your knees down again and then come back up if you like. Take a few breaths here, pressing the floor away. Keep your neck soft. And then bring those knees gently down, and then bring your whole body down to the floor, onto your belly. And bring those arms out in front of you, reaching the fingertips to the wall in front of you and reaching the toes to the wall behind you. And again, you can make some wriggles here. I like to pretend that I'm doing a little secret swimming that no one knows because you can barely see me move. Inhale and exhale, bend your elbows. Bring your hands back underneath your face. Make a little hand pillow. Stack those hands. Rest the chin, the forehead, the side of the head. And then begin to windshield wiper the heels back and forth. Now you can move the ankles the same direction, or you can let them alternate on their own. And just start to feel a bit of an undulation moving all the way up from your feet, through your legs, into your torso. If you imagine, well, we are so full of water, it's very easy to think of us as being quite similar to water balloons. So what we're doing right here is just sloshing our whole water balloon. And just the way that ripples move further and further out when you drop a pebble into a pond, these undulations, these jostlings, sloshing of the water balloons travel to more and more parts of the body. And so now, allow that movement to come to a close and just sort of feel the ripples. Noticing sensation. On your next breath, you can undo your hand pillow and bring your arms down by your sides with the palms facing down, and rest your chin on the mat. And on your next inhale, press your pubic bone into the mat and lift head, shoulders, and chest. And then exhale, come down. Check in with the back of your neck. Is your the back of your skull squeezing back towards the neck? If so, let it come down. So maybe almost your nose or forehead comes down towards the mat. And then next inhale, press the pubic bone in, lift head, shoulders, and chest, nice long neck. And exhale, come down. Now head, shoulders, chest, lift the arms, the hands up off the floor, and then come back down. Next time, inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest, arms. And now can you lift your feet and legs just a little bit? Doesn't have to be very high. And then exhale, come down. Continue, if you like, to inhale, raise everything up, and then exhale, come down. Or on the next inhale, come up, lift upper body, arms, legs, toes are reaching behind you, and just hang out here as you breathe. Use this time to lengthen the back of the neck. Reach the fingertips towards the wall behind you. Reach the toes to the wall behind you. This lengthening is much more important than height. If you'd like one more phase of adventure, start to bring your arms to shoulder height, and then start to turn the palms towards the ceiling, turning the elbow pits towards the ceiling, and bring those arms out in front of you. Come down whenever you need to. You can always stay down or you can come back up. One more breath wherever you're at. And then on your exhale, if you've got stuff out and up, bring it back to the side and then slowly down. Bring those hands back to the hand pillow, maybe stacking them the opposite direction, maybe turning your head the other way, finding whatever feels comfortable. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your legs gently from side to side for a little low back release. You might also try circling the feet in the air. So imagine that your toes were tracing the edges of a clock, and then go the other direction. Let those feet come down to the floor. Take a breath. And then start to move the hands beneath the shoulders and maybe curl your toes under just slightly. And we're going to come up back to a table position, but I challenge you, instead of just pressing and rolling up, feel free to come up however you like, but a different little challenge today is, can you try to press your hands into the floor, and can you lift your hips a little bit so that maybe your shoulders and hips come up together at the same time? So it's almost like a reverse plank, or like coming up out of the plank. It's just a challenge. And then allow your seat to come back down towards your heels, coming into child's pose. Perhaps bringing your forehead down towards the floor. You can have your knees together or you can widen them. Maybe see what it feels like to try a different way, if you'd like. Now the arms can be out in front of you, or they can be by your side with the palms up. One more breath here. And then bring your hands, start to bring them closer in towards your knees, and press yourself up. Allow your hips to come over to one side of your kneeling position, with the hips drop down towards the floor. And then start to roll yourself down to the floor on your back. Now, keep your feet flat on the floor and bend one knee, perhaps your right knee, towards you, and clasp your hands just below the knee on the shin, just giving a little bit of a hug in towards you. And then release that, bring the foot back down to the floor, and let the other knee come up towards you. Interlace your fingers over that shin, let the knee come towards you. And now raise both knees. Each hand holds each leg just beneath the knee. You can allow your knees to widen just a little bit if you like, creating a little space for breathing. Allow your feet to raise up towards the ceiling, keeping your knees bent. And then we'll be coming to happy baby. So you can either hold on to the inside of the feet, maybe the outside of the feet, or maybe onto the ankle or the shin. Find some place that feels right. And then just add a little bit of a playful rock from side to side. Now release your hands, but keep your, let's see, go ahead and bring your knees, your bent, excuse me. Keep your knees bent and bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. Keep your upper arms with your about shoulder height, and then you can bend your elbows, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. So your upper arms are on the floor, fingertips reach up. Then allow the back of the hand to come down to the floor. So now you've got a nice 90-degree bend in the elbows, the fingertips are pointed behind you. And then raise your feet up off the floor again. Bring the knees a little bit closer towards you. Inhale and exhale. Just allow the knees to drop over to one side. And take a breath or two here. And on your next inhale, allow your back to come back down to the floor. And then inhale and exhale, let the knees and lower body roll over to the other side. And stay here for a breath or two. On your next inhale, allow the knees to come back in towards the center, back is back on the floor. Let your toes reach up towards the ceiling, straightening the legs. And just let your hips sink down towards the floor. Let the legs dangle up in towards the ceiling, just for a moment. And then gently bend your knees. Bring the soles of the feet down to the floor and allow your legs to start to straighten. Feel free to shift your hips, shift your shoulders, move the back of the head a little bit to find a comfortable resting position as we come down to Shavasana for our final relaxation. Bring the arms down by the sides, but about 45 degrees away with your palms facing up. You may also stick something beneath your head, perhaps, or beneath your knees, or even bend one or both of the knees. You can even roll onto your side for this. Find whatever position feels relaxing for you. Let your eyes gently close and start to deepen the inhales and exhales, feeling the belly rise on the inhale and relax and soften on the exhale. Giving yourself a scan from head to toe, finding if there are any tight spots, if you need to reposition or send your awareness or your breath there. See if you can cause that tension to evaporate. Allow it to leave, if only just for this moment. Feeling your body growing soft and heavy, just melting into the support that's there for you. Now, begin to deepen your awareness, deepening the breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And then maybe start to bring some movement into the wrists, the ankles. Move whatever feels good. And begin to bend your knees and roll over onto your favorite side. Coming to rest here for a moment. And then gently pressing your hands, your arms into the floor. Start to come back into an upright seated position. Keeping your eyes gently closed. Checking back in with your body, with your mind, with your mood. Bring your hand, one hand to the center of your chest. And you can just use the one hand or you can stack the other hand on top of it. And just start to feel the warmth of the hand on your chest. Feel the warmth of your chest on your hand. Feel the expansion and contraction of the lungs as you breathe. Maybe you can feel the heartbeat. while your heart might be located just off to the left of center. The sort of energetic space for the heart is right in the center of the chest. So let this warmth gather there. Traditionally, the color that's associated with the heart area is green. So if visualization is something that works for you, maybe start to feel a warm green light gathering beneath your hands in the middle of your chest. Maybe starting to feel some love and gratitude for a loved one, a pet, a friend, maybe something, maybe a place, a favorite plant. Whatever, find whatever brings you joy, lights up your heart space. Start to feel it growing beneath your hands, inside your chest. Maybe you did something really great recently, maybe even in today's class. So feel some love and gratitude for yourself, even if just for showing up, for waking up. And as you start to feel all this warm love and gratitude right here, know that if you ever need to, you can always bring your hands back to your chest and feel this calm sense of love and gratitude. You can check in with it, feel it start to just fill your whole body. Maybe start to bring a smile to your face. However it shows up for you. I invite you to check in with it from time to time. May we be free of suffering. May we have physical happiness. May we have mental happiness. May our hearts be at peace. You can allow your eyes to open. And if you like, you can bring your hands to prayer position in front of your chest, palms together. And I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, whatever time it is. And I hope to see you again next time.